Are there certain problems in your community, like access to affordable housing or employment, that people just can't seem to solve, even though they've been trying for years? Do some local problems keep coming back again and again, regardless of what efforts are taken to solve them? If yes, you're not alone. Community problems can be difficult to solve, especially when local efforts only tackle the symptoms of these problems instead of what's driving them. This video describes a tool that you can use to improve local problem solving called a root cause analysis. Root cause analysis is a process to understand the causes of a problem instead of just its symptoms. Addressing these causes improves problem solving. Unfortunately, most of us tend to immediately jump to solutions whenever a problem comes up, without first fully understanding why the problem is happening. You've probably experienced this in your own work. Someone brings up a problem during a meeting. For example, local organizations aren't referring residents to basic needs supports. Then people in the meeting immediately start coming up with solutions to solve this problem. What's wrong with this scenario? When you jump to solutions without fully understanding why a problem is happening, it's easy to come up with the wrong solution. For example, imagine someone at the meeting suggests training local organizations on where to refer residents for basic needs supports, without fully understanding that the main reason organizations aren't making referrals is because they don't even screen clients for basic needs to know a referral is needed in the first place. Without also addressing this screening issue, simply training organizations on where to refer residents won't be enough to solve the problem. We all have a habit of making quick assumptions when problem solving. Unfortunately, these assumptions can get in the way of developing effective solutions. A root cause analysis helps us check this habit by revealing why problems are happening so we can design better solutions. You can use root cause analysis to problem solve many different types of problems, including population level problems like high obesity rates or lack of kindergarten readiness, community level problems like lack of affordable housing, transportation, employment, or access to healthy food. These are often referred to as the social determinants of health. System or organizational problems related to coordination, referrals, service access, or low employee morale. And implementation barriers like strategies not being used effectively or limited resident engagement in local efforts. You can also use root cause analysis in many different situations, such as collaborative meetings or staff meetings, service interactions, formal strategic planning processes, and formal conversations. Basically, you can use root cause analysis anytime a problem comes up that needs to be solved. So, how does it work? Start by clearly defining the problem you're trying to solve. For example, take the referral problem we talked about before. Clarify this problem by asking questions like, what types of organizations aren't making these basic needs referrals? What types of basic needs are not being referred? Next, ask why the problem is happening. For example, why are the staff from these types of organizations not referring residents to basic needs supports? You may find out some providers simply don't see basic needs referrals as part of their job description. Other providers are identifying when a client has unmet basic needs, but then don't know where to refer them in the community. Some providers aren't screening their clients to see if they have unmet basic needs. Look at these three causes. Should you ask why again for any of them? Here's a trick. You don't need to ask why again if it's clear what needs to change to resolve the issues. For example, look at these two root causes. To change this situation, it's clear that you would need to increase providers' knowledge and shift their mindsets about their role in making referrals. Remember, at this point, you're only focused on what needs to change, not how to change it. But look at this root cause. It's not so clear what would need to change to resolve the situation. There could be lots of reasons why they aren't screening, so it's important to ask why again. For example, you may learn most staff aren't screening clients because their organizations don't have any protocols for them to use. Now you know what would need to change to resolve the issue. Help organizations adopt screening protocols. You can also explore how these root causes are influencing each other to inform your problem solving. For example, providers not seeing referrals as part of their job might also be impacting whether or not they're screening clients, in addition to the lack of screening protocols. Once you have identified multiple root causes for your problems, prioritize which are the most important to address and design targeted strategies to address them. Note, it's impossible for any one person to understand all the reasons why a problem is happening. You can improve your root cause analysis by gathering multiple perspectives, particularly from local residents and direct service staff, about why the problem is happening. Want to learn more? Check out these root cause analysis tools in the next video in this series.